it was the most audacious operation the Islamic terror group had launched in Nigeria. Reports stated that they arrived in a convoy of vehicles into which they headed their young victims. It was a most harrowing experience for the teenage girls. Some jumped out of the trucks. The rest ended up where their captors wanted. The forbidden Sambisa forests is where they ended up. The world was horrified, but the Nigerian government would hardly be bothered. About 24 hours after the incident, the then President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan flew to Kano to receive Ibrahim Shekarau, a former governor of Borno State, who defected to the ruling PDP. There, former President Jonathan sang and danced happily at a political rally. He lived in denial of a whole month and did not speak publicly about the attack until the 4th of May. Canada, China, France, Britain, and the United States expressed their sympathies and offered help. France promised to send troops. China offered to deploy its satellite surveillance technology. The British Royal Air Force said it sighted the girls a few weeks after their kidnapping and offered to rescue them. Even the Americans, using their eye-in-the-sky technology, reported seeing a group of about 80 of the Chibok girls. They, too, said they would assist. But the Jonathan administration declined, saying it was a national issue and would be tackled internally. Abubakar Shekau, the then leader of the murderous group, released a video of some 130 of the kidnapped girls in hijab and boasted about the chilling things he and his gang could do with them. Many were forcibly converted to Islam. Some were married against their will or kept in sexual slavery. Some who resisted went through hell. A good number escaped, even walking for weeks in the bushes. Some were found wandering with their babies. Some were rescued by the military. Those caught trying to escape were severely beaten. Over 90 of these girls are still missing. Where are they? What are their captors doing with them? The government fails them still, 11 years after. The Agenda on Dominion TV. I have my guest with me this morning, John Izuchukwu. It's good to have you once again on The Agenda.
Thank you for having me, and good morning.
11 years after, over 90 girls are still missing. Remember that harrowing experience? On the 14th of April, 2014, this is 2025. This is 11 years precisely after. No administration after the Jonathanian administration is even talking about the life of these girls. Chibok girls, where are they? John Izuchukwu.
Yeah, Chike, thank you. You see, we pray Nigeria will not happen to us. Once it happens to you, the state moves on, and then you're a victim. It's sad, it's painful. It's an harrowing experience that no one will forget in a hurry. I don't think that the former president, Mr. Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan, any time he remembers that event, that situation, that instance, when he was the commander-in-chief of Nigeria and he wasn't able to do anything for the period of time he had to lead this country, I think he will be in pain and he will be in regret if he ever has conscience. But what's unfortunate, rather, is that you have a country where the sacredness and the sanctity of life has been thrown into a thin air. Life no longer matters to us. And government after government have continued to fail in what is supposed to be the sacred duty of government, which is to provide security of lives and property of its citizens. But the story of Nigeria is not so. And any right-thinking person should be overly worried. Because what 11 years after now, we're not able to account for over 90 of them. It's sad. It shows Nigeria has failed its own people. And you know, I've always believed that if Nigeria were to be a mother, it would have been a very cruel mother. Because how do you sleep with your eyes closed, your mind at peace, and people have continued to loot and live as if nothing has happened, when you have young people whose shoulder lies the future of Nigeria kidnapped and kept, and today we don't even know their whereabouts, we don't know their state, we don't know what's happening to them. And we have since moved on. And that's why I said that being issue, we pray that Nigeria don't happen to us, because once it happens to you, you bear your brunt. Nobody cares. You have a country that don't care about our own citizens. It's painful, and it's difficult to get patriotic people in this instance. Because why being patriotic when the country you want to die for has no plan to take care of whatever you leave behind? So it's worrisome. And we take this opportunity to also, you know, send our condolences once again and commiserate with the families. You see, we should be our brother's keeper. I mean, you know, the elders have a saying: if your child dies, you weep over the child, and over time you forget about it. But if your child is lost, the pain will be there every now and then. Every time you see what that child could do for you, and then the child is not there, not because the child is dead, but because the child is kidnapped or is lost, the pain will always be there. So you will wonder what kind of trauma would the family or the loved ones, the close associate of those young, children, young teenagers will be going through at the moment. But Nigeria has moved on. There's nothing we can do about it.
Well, talking about these young girls, yes, they've been missing for 11 years. The pain is there on the part of the parents. However, the security architecture, especially in the Northeast, has it improved so far up till date? Because if you followed what happened yesterday in Plateau State, which is North Central, about 52 people killed overnight in a country that has a leadership. But let's get first. Has the security architecture in the Northeast, do you think it has improved over the years?
Okay, we are all Nigerians. There are no, we are the one living here experiencing firsthand Nigeria. Nobody will say that his life is safe today. Even this city that we're in, we go out every day holding our lives in our hands.
As Nigerians.
If you return home, you return home. If you don't, life moves on. Life goes on. We are talking about security architecture. The former president, Mr. Buhari, was there, and he could not do anything.
And a former military head of state.
In his own region. And you see, and that's why some of us believe that as long as nepotism is a major player in our selection or our appointment of people to man very critical areas or sectors of our country, you will always not get results.
But is it about having the right people there? Since the Chibok thing happened, Nigeria has had over 5-6 chief of army staff.
Chike, you see, if we look at, if we look at the, the overall design of the Nigeria security architecture, you will see the moment the president comes from a particular section of the country, everybody around the security, from the NSA to the chief of staff, all of them will be from a particular, block of the country.
Okay.
Now, the idea is that you need people who are loyal to you to be able to, provide security solutions to these matters. But we have seen over time, if we do not place competence over this primordial nepotic approach, we will not get any result. Because you can't tell me we do not have intelligent people. We are not lacking in people with capacity in Nigeria. We need to get that clear. We have a lot of experts in Nigeria. But you see, the moment the cabal are the ones who, donate these guys, for you as the leader, as the president, or head of state, as the case may be, at the end of the day, they will only, because don't forget that these security issues have become a very big market. It's a very big market. And certain individuals who are cashing out of this bloody incident will not want it to end. So they are conflict entrepreneurs, and they are making money from it. And the John, government and people in government are aware.
John, when you say they are cashing out on this, are they trading human lives?
No. What I mean is that they are making a lot of money because someone is involved in bringing the arms. Someone is involved in moving the people to IDPs and all of the aid coming into the country, into the IDP. Some group of persons are making a lot of money from it.
Does that warrant the killings that are the wanton killings that are taking place in the country?
Let me tell you, the North, as it were, need a lot of massive reorientation. Because since these incidents of insurgents began, and there is a new economy that has been created by this war, and the people in that region now are difficult to detach from that economy. And so you will see people always gravitating towards anything and everything that will continue to sustain that economy. For instance, when you go to a place like Borno, go ask the NGOs working there to take a picture that you take maybe 500 naira, 1,000 naira, the case may be outside of that place, is a lot of money. So even the cameraman there, the guy selling food there, the price of things change. And you are wondering, these are the people you think we should, be concerned about, and they should also be concerned about their situation. But that's not the case. So what I'm saying is that there is a network between the people in government or out of government, and of course the people themselves. So a lot has to be done. When you say rejigging Nigeria security architecture, it's not putting your tribesmen, your kingsmen in those key security offices. We're saying, how honest can we be in dealing with this issue? Because you can't tell me we are lacking in capacity. I've heard people say, oh, there is no synergies in intelligence gathering and dissemination. When you look closely, any case or any issue the security agencies want to nip on the bud, they do.
Okay, so this is what baffles me or what beats my mind. And I've been asking this question over and over again. Nigerians were told to link their BVNs and their NINs to their SIM cards. Nigerians have done this because there was a deadline. Are they saying, or is the government saying, that with all these security measures taken in the telecom industry, these terrorists, these marauders cannot be tracked? Is that an ineptitude by government? Why is it that these things are not, handled holistically? Yes, SIM cards have been registered, BVNs have been linked, national identity numbers have been linked, and still these terrorists are having a field day. What is that missing factor, that X factor?
If you ask me again, I will always tell you, some persons are making money from it.
Is it a deliberate attempt by a group of people?
That's what it is.
Are they under government?
That's my position.
They are under government?
That's my position, because security takes a huge chunk of our budget every year. A huge chunk. And you expect that it would have translated into significant result that we would look back and say, oh, we're making some progress. There are mileages that are being covered as far as security issues are concerned. But you see, the reason why it will keep, going this way is because one of the ways to enrich yourself unduly is, get involved with the security issues and then get your own share of the money. Because, and you see, it is the height of wickedness. Look at what's happening in Plateau State today. Did you see the video of human beings that were slaughtered as if they were animals? You're loading them in a truck. These are human beings, men that has families, women that have families. Now you have more widows. You have children who will not be able to go to schools again. They will end up become miscreants on the street, and they will constitute more security danger for us in the future. And so you ask yourself, what exactly is the function of government? If as basic as security of life is not available for the people.
Well, the function of government is well spelled out, but I think the question will be, do we have a government?
Chike, we have a government.
Okay.
Because somebody is sitting as a governor, somebody is sitting there as the president of Nigeria. We have a government. Okay, you say we don't have a government, and somebody wakes up one morning and say, "Oh, Rivers State,
do we have a functional? Do we have a functional government?"
Like I've always said, you see, the variant of Nigeria kind of leadership, you can't find it anywhere
in the world.
It is a very unique one. Is idiosyncratic to us. People need to come and learn, and I pray they don't export it, because it's not a good one. A leadership that enslaves people.
Can it be learned?
Of course. If you know how we are shaping this continent, Africa, the continent of Africa, we are shaping Africa. It's unfortunate that we are exporting the wrong things outside of this country, particularly within, our neighboring countries.
It might work in other countries.
Well, it cannot work because you cannot enthrone greed, corruption without caution. So
if you say we're exporting it to other countries, are you telling me that Nigeria is setting a pace for the dark continent that keeps getting...
The design of Nigeria is that, any good thing we practice and is working somehow becomes the interest of all African nations. That's why today, our movies, people, a friend of mine went to Kenya and came back and said to me, the Kenyans know the titles of our movies. I don't even know any today. But they know all, most of our movies than we who are Nigerians. They follow the event and the trend of things happening in the industry. And the same with our music. But what are we saying here? We're saying, can we have a government that works?
A functional government.
Can we have a government that puts the people at the center of its decision making? Can we provide security of lives? Can we ensure that this economy is working and people can have at least life in the barest minimum? If you ask me again, I will tell you over and over, our problem is leadership. Because I can't understand why somebody is sitting now as a governor in Plateau State and over 64 communities have been taken by a particular ethnic group. What's happening there is genocide, is ethnic cleansing. I mean, there's no way to describe it. There's no other word. And somebody's not taking any decisive action about it. And you're there just watching.
All right, talking about decisive action. Here, the Punch newspaper today says, Tinubu orders offensive as fresh Plateau attack leaves 51 dead. I said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has strongly condemned the violence in Plateau State, urging the state's leadership to find a lasting solution to persistent communal conflicts. This comes after at least 51 people were again killed by gunmen with scores injured in the early hours of Monday in the Zike and Kakpa communities in Basa local government area of the North Central State, 2 weeks after deadly clashes in another part of the state, which left several people dead. So, Mr. President has condemned it strongly. Yes, as usual, Mr. President will always condemn it, and then, but we're still looking for decisive measures on these people. People who kill these people are not strangers. They're Nigerians. They're here. They're there in Plateau State. Can't they be fished out?
Have you ever heard that there's been any killing and somebody was arrested and prosecuted for it? It's the same old story. That's why every day we go out to believing that Nigeria will not happen to us. I'm telling you the truth. Because I think that at this point in time, we need a stronger and more formidable community security. Because if you look down what's happening in the Southwest, it seems as if there's a more formidable local community security, which is why you see some interception of these armed men, these bandits trying to do something, and they were intercepted, so that you don't have multiple casualties at the same time. I think the governor himself is overwhelmed with the spate of events in these few days. Is overwhelmed because even...
Do you foresee a state of emergency?
I don't think so, because the only state of emergency we have today is a political one.
Okay, so
I don't think so.
So since the problem there is not political,
the president is the commander-in-chief.
Okay,
he should be held responsible.
Okay,
and state of emergency is not the solution. What he should do is to give a marching order to the military to step in and then come into those communities and get those people, arrested and hand them over to the police for proper prosecution. That's what he should do. You see, all this political talk, and the president should live up to his campaign promises. He's already failing. This is 2 years, because I have believed we should give him some time to see what he could do. But this is 2 years into his administration. We should begin to see some form of light at the end of the tunnel, where we're having economic war. Security is not getting any better. I mean, what are we saying? What is it doing?
Maybe there's no power to turn on the light at the end of that tunnel.
I hope he do, because if he doesn't, he may not find it funny in the next election. Where Nigerians are disgruntled, people are slaughtered, he will get a stiff resistance in the next election. The only way to redeem his image and to prove to us that he's a strong... You're not just a president by being strong-willed and make pronouncement and proclamation that are just mere statements. We need a president who is on ground to provide solution.
Appropriation aside, implementation major
we need it right now.
Okay.
Nigerians are dying in the Middle Belt, and something has to be done very quickly.
We need to go on a break. We'll go on this break, and when I come back, it will be time for us to delve into other issues on the agenda this morning. Stick around. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's still the agenda on Dominion Broadcast Group. And here we've talked about the Chibok girls 11 years after. We're still grappling with the loss of over 90 young teenagers then who will be growing into adults now. We delve into the next agenda. Governors elected under the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, have declared that the party will not engage in any political merger or coalition ahead of the 2027 general elections, even as they open the door to individuals and groups willing to join the PDP's fold. This resolution was part of a communique issued at the end of the PDP Governors Forum, the 2025 fourth meeting held in Ibadan, Oyo State, yesterday, that's Monday. Well, the governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, who hosted them, had a chat with the governors there, welcoming them to Oyo State. Let's get to listen to the voice of the governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde.
You all duly recognize that. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to Ibadan. The cultural and historical capital of the Southwest. Actually, where you are is rich with a lot of history. If you look at from that side, you see, I think, General Rankin, he was the first person to rule the Western region. And then all the way, I would know my predecessors from when we started this 1999. That was Lamadeshina, followed by Governor Larija, followed by Governor Akala, followed by Governor Jimabi. In 2 years, mine also will be there. So this place is filled with a lot of history. And I believe our meeting today, we also have some historical significance. So on that note, let me welcome you and to wish us a very successful.
All right, that's the executive governor of Oyo State speaking there, Engineer Seyi Makinde, welcoming the PDP governors to the Oyo State capital, Ibadan. The meeting, chaired by Bauchi State Governor, Senator Bala Abdulkadir Mohammed, also resolved to uphold the party's earlier position on the contentious issue of its national secretary, while recognizing the recent Supreme Court judgment. The forum recommended that the Deputy National Secretary act in that capacity pending a formal replacement from the Southeast Zone. In a strong stance on constitutional governance, the governors announced their decision to seek Supreme Court interpretation on the legality of declaring a state of emergency in any state, a move linked to recent political tensions in Rivers State. Let's get to listen to Bala Mohammed, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, who chaired that meeting in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital.
Nationwide speculation about the possible merger of political parties, groups, and or associations, the forum resolved that the PDP will not join any coalition or merger. However, the PDP, as a major opposition party, welcomes any party, persons, or groups that are willing to join it with a view to wresting power and enthroning good leadership in 2027. 2. The forum reiterates its position taken in Asaba on the issue of the national secretary of the party, but in the wake of the Supreme Court judgment, the forum resolved to recommend that the Deputy National Secretary acts as a National Secretary pending the nomination and ratification of a substantive National Secretary from the Southeast Zone at NEC at its next meeting. 3. The forum reasserts our collective determination to to avert a rape of our constitutional democracy, hence the decision of approaching the Supreme Court to give a clear-cut verdict on the interpretation of the provision of the law on the declaration of state of emergency in any state of the Federation. The Forum therefore reiterates its solidarity with His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara on the ordeal in which his state and people have been plunged into by the declaration of the state of emergency, and we reiterate our commitment to stand with him till the end. Number 4, the Forum finds alarming the worsening security situation in the country, as evidenced in parts of the country, especially Borno, Plateau, Katsina, and Edo states. The Forum calls for the review and reordering of priorities and strategies, including adopting a bottom-up template that guarantees the subnationals to constitute an effective line of defense against security breaches. While raising the concerns above, we condemn the recent attacks in Plateau State and commiserate with the government and people of the state, especially those who lost their lives and property. Resolved that working in conjunction with the National Working Committee, NWC, and other relevant organs of the party to hold a NEC meeting on the 27th of May 2025, constitute a zoning committee that will address all issues relating to zoning of the party offices, and hold an early convention in August of August in the ancient city of Kano. Number 6, the Forum equally recommends the constitution of the zoning and national convention committees for ratification by NWC and NEC as follows. Zoning committee to be made up of Governor Duedri of Bayelsa State as chairman, Governor Dauda Lawal as vice chairman, and Governor Caleb Mutwang as secretary, while the National Convention Committee will be headed by Governor Ahmadu Fintri as chairman, Governor Ademola Adeleke as vice chairman, and Governor Peter Mba as secretary. The Forum expressed its deep gratitude to the host governor, His Excellency Engineer Sheyi Makinde, the government and people of...
All right, that's Governor Bala Mohammed there of Bauchi State speaking or addressing journalists after the closed-door meeting at the governor's office, the executive chamber of the governor's office here in Ibadan. John Izuchukwu, this is an issue of PDP trying to get its foot in, trying to gather its acts right and make sure that they still remain formidable in the Nigerian polity. What is wrong with the PDP?
The PDP has a lot of problems. So, and I think Nigerians know now we don't have an opposition party. We are already on a very slippery path in our democracy where it's one-party system. And what that does is that it will throw up dictatorship. And when that is entrenched, it is possible that the mistakes of the First Republic will repeat itself. And so we believe that PDP is already infiltrated. PDP, they've not shown leadership as opposition party. They've not demonstrated that they've been around for 16 years in power. And that again shows us that Nigerians political class do not have any ideology whatsoever as far as the political space is concerned. You wonder why a party like PDP will be easily bought over by the ruling party. So today is not news. We don't have a strong opposition. We hope that the merger will work, because at the end of the day, Nigeria is far more important than anybody in power.
The party is saying they are not interested in any merger.
No, they are saying that they are not willing to merge with anybody.
If anyone
others
wants
can merge
they
with
could
them.
come to them.
Yeah, of course. at the end of the day, it's still a form of merger. The smaller parties can go to them. But I also think that name PDP is not sellable, if you ask me. It's not sellable.
Is it about the name of that party, PDP? I feel it's a period where there is this law of diminishing returns.
Well, Chike, you see, check all the mergers from AMPP,
we have political parties in other African
that.
countries that have stood the test of time.
But PDP with its makeup and the people in that party, as I know, as of today, they lack the moral courage. Even though Nigerians don't, sometimes you wonder the kind of boldness Nigerians display. Somebody already have a very terrible record that's available on the internet, and he's parading himself as, oh, we are the vanguards of good governance. So, but with the level of awareness among the Gen Zs, among younger Nigerians, among younger electorates, it's becoming clear that some of these parties, particularly PDP, is losing it. And with the fact that it's now known to many people that there are several APC moles in the PDP. And there's nothing you can do about it. And so it's as good that they are working for the ruling party. Some of them are just waiting to exit the PDP by the end of the election and then go get appointment with the ruling party, which is Mr. Wike has set a pace, has set the ball rolling for all of them.
Before we get to the Wike issue, you are saying today that the PDP has been infiltrated.
The PDP is a carcass. The PDP itself is gone.
Will they survive whatever is happening to them now? Now that these governors have come together,
let's be fair and honest. PDP can't stand this APC in the next election with this current makeup. Is it from Chief Bode George and his inconsistency to Wike, who is already there to see the end of PDP completely? Or even some of our governors down here, who are half here and half there.
One leg PDP, one leg other party.
So because it is about what benefits you per time.
Interest.
It's about remaining in power. Because if Wike had not been in power, it would not have access to the apparatus of government to use in Rivers State. So they don't want to lose what they call their party structure. So they will always find, even if it's to become a director of something, because you cannot expect, I've never seen where a former governor for 80 years, a former minister, a former local government chairman, and we end up accepting to be FCT minister. And he's doing it passionately as if this is the first time he's coming into power.
Basically, some will call it advanced governor.
No, it's just a way to see. It's just a way to keep.
Just to maintain power.
Maintain power and keep the structure he has in the state.
Okay, now talking about Wike himself, Wike seemed to be holding the PDP in the jugular. Well, he seemed to have the control button, the control switch of the party. So if he decides to press that red button, the party goes up in flames, right? Is that what is happening?
That's what it is, because you see, Wike is one person who spends. I don't think there's anybody who has funded the PDP like Wike.
With taxpayers' funds.
Yeah.
When you say you are funding a party, you are a civil servant.
See, the truth is
or a
that,
public servant.
The truth is that all of them knows the role Wike had played for the survival of PDP, particularly when this party in power now was in opposition, and the PDP was already moving at a fast pace to drowning, and Wike came to rescue them. But they do not know what he did was, what looks like the Greek gift. He had an ulterior motive. He wanted to take charge of the party, and those who were there before he came, he has successfully and tactically retired them. And even though they are still parading themselves as foremost members of the PDP, they don't have so much stake as Wike has today. So there's nothing you can do about it. So Wike is holding them in jugular. How do you expect that with all Wike has done, he's not been expelled? Nobody. So you can't do that to him. So PDP, Wike wants to see the end of PDP. He wants PDP dead completely. And maybe a new party is going to emerge tomorrow out of PDP's reign. We don't know. But as we speak today, I don't think that PDP will be a match.
So what happens to the PDP 60-year plan?
It's a joke. It's a mirage. Because even their governors are not doing anything extraordinary. All of them. But they've not done anything extraordinary to make us begin to say, let's consider them.
Is the problem of the PDP hinged on the lack of party ideology?
I think that PDP even have some form of ideology more than this current party, the APC. The APC is so flat. The APC have, it's just that you see, Nigerians don't play by the rules. That's our major challenge. So the whatever looks like an idea, do what they like. Because otherwise, you will not have a Wike who is now dictating to the president what to do. Who is now more like a chief advisor to the president. Because you will see the script the president read out, as to the issue of emergency rule in Rivers State. It was more scripted. I mean, he was a smarter person than this. But of course, Wike had manipulated him.
Well,
and
maybe,
all of this,
maybe he has paid his dues to Mr. President.
Whatever dues he paid, the president should have known that the people are more important to him than one man.
So are you saying what the PDP did in your state yesterday was just a charade and a meeting in futility?
No. They've taken a position. But we're here to see that because
will they survive?
That's the point. You see, you're already crippled. You have not solved the major internal wrangling of your party. And whatever, in fact, this governors forum will not hold. They are more like a toothless bull, because all of what happened in Rivers, with all their claims of standing with Siminalayi Fubara, did not amount to anything.
All right, quickly, before we call it a wrap on the show this morning, let us get to the last talking point. And that last talking point deals with the issue in Rivers State. You got a story yesterday where the sole administrator, Ibas, retired Imok Ete Ibas, talked about the NBA, that's the Nigerian Bar Association, being given 300 million from the suspended governor, suspended governor Sim Fubara, because they were supposed to host, Rivers State was supposed to host the NBA convention. However, it's been moved to Enugu State now, and then 300 million there was given to the NBA. However, let's get it. The NBA had berated President Bola Tinubu for declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspending all elected officials, including Governor Sim Fubara. Last week, the NBA doubled down on its criticism of President Tinubu. It moved its 2025 conference, earlier scheduled for Port Harcourt, to Enugu in Enugu State in protest against the emergency rule. The NBA said that hosting the conference in Port Harcourt would amount to endorsing illegality. In his first reaction after the NBA moved the conference to Port Harcourt in Enugu State, Rivers State Administrator Imok Ete Ibas asked the Nigerian Bar Association to refund 300 million naira the Rivers State government paid to the association for hosting the 2025 NBA Annual General Conference. Meanwhile, the NBA says the money received from Rivers State government for the 2025 Annual General Conference was a gift. A statement issued on Monday by Emeka Obegolu, chairman of the Annual General Conference Planning Committee, said the legal body did not sell the hosting rights for the conference. 300 million naira, NBA saying is a cash gift from the suspended governor of Rivers State. Well, logically, you will say, since you're no longer, since the governor, the suspended governor, or the governor who gave you this cash gift has been suspended, and you're no longer hosting the conference in Rivers State, you're taking it to another state, why not refund the gift? Is that the right thing to do? Or does it speak volume about the Nigerian Bar Association?
No. You see, at the moment, democracy, constitutionality is suspended in Rivers State. What you have is a regime in Rivers State. It's undemocratic. It is an attempt to plunge the nation back into the dark days of the military era. What that means is that NBA, as a body that agrees with Constitution, as a body that promotes rule of law, does not want to endorse that illegality. Because hosting that conference there will mean that we approve of this illegality. So what NBA has done is on principle. And the current administrator was not the one who gave them money, whether it was for hosting right or a gift. He has no constitutional backing to investigate or to evaluate whatsoever any amount of money that was given. He was not the one who gave it, so it should stay clear, because even his tender is unconstitutional. It's against the will of the people. It is an imposition on democracy, and is a very terrible trend that portends danger not only for Rivers State but for the entire nation.
So you have issues with the sole administratorship in Rivers State?
I don't know him. I don't have issues with him, but I'm saying
not him.
That process.
Yes, that's the process.
Is unconstitutional.
Okay.
It is what has been described over and over again as a rape of democracy. It is an attack on the collective rights of the people and on the international community.
But you just said it's a regime in Rivers State.
Exactly.
So the regime does not play by the books of democracy.
It is a decree.
So he could give a decree for the refund of that money.
Because he's dealing with lawyers, does he think he's a layman like some of us on the street? They will go to the court and he will go and prove whether he gave them money. You see, if he was a man of honor, I believe he should have resigned.
The sole administrator?
If he was a man of honor. Personally, I believe he's been in the pipeline and he's been part of the shenanigan that has been going on. They didn't just go to pick him, because whatever he's doing today is a script that has been scripted, and it's been part of that arrangement.
Are you pained that Fubara was suspended?
I'm not pained. What I'm pained about is that democracy was suspended, because Fubara should have known that you cannot be eating with Satan and have a short spoon. Your spoon should be long enough.
All right. Thank you, John Izuchukwu, for being a part of the agenda this morning.
Thank you, Chigi, for having
Dear viewer, let's keep the conversation going. Do follow us on all our social media platforms, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's at Dominion Broadcast, at Dominion Broadcast. And on the app X is at Dominion Cast. Let's do this again tomorrow. My name is Chike Obogu. Do have a great day and stay safe.